This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm super duper tired. But we knocking this one out anyway. I got my brother Tony Crow in the building. And Tony, we take another loss. Man. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. I mean, we're definitely hit. We're in a bad streak right now. We're in a slump for real. What's your thoughts, man?
Well, I was hoping they set the tone in this first game on this road trip, and now I'm hoping they didn't set the tone. You know what I mean? I'm hoping they could bounce back and recover from this. But I'm kind of pissed off, man. I'm kind of pissed off. I'm tired of this team having to get down to fight back to show some urgency. Like, why can't they show urgency from the beginning of the game? You know what I mean? And keep that urgency throughout the game.
Right.
They wait until they get down and show all this fight and show all this grit. But they don't do that for the course of the whole game.
Right. You know what I mean? And that's that edge that we talk about. That's that missing edge, right? Not showing that fight throughout the game, waiting into the fourth quarter to decide, oh man, we got to turn it up. We got a ball now. You know what I mean? That's the fight that we're talking about. That's not, championship teams don't do that. Championship teams know that they got somebody hunting them down every single time they step out there on the floor. Championship teams know this. And so they step out on the floor with that kind of urgency every night.
It makes me wonder sometimes about this team, because it's one thing when you're the underdog, right? It's one thing when you're the underdog and you could be the predator. You know what I mean? But once you start exceeding expectations and start getting these accolades and start, outperforming or getting more popular than some other guys throughout the league, you know what I mean? Right. You start becoming the prey. You know what I mean? Everybody wants what you got.
Exactly.
Everybody hears how the Knicks is supposed to win the East, and it's wide open, and you become the target.
You become the target. You become the hunted. You know what I mean? And this team, I don't know. I don't know. They haven't always handled prosperity well. And shown that they have the leadership to continue to win and produce and play well, play adequate basketball when there's, after they prosper. Every team's going to hit a losing streak. Every team's going to hit a slump. Right now, we've lost 5 of 6 games. You know what I mean? That's and everything is beginning to, everything is glaring. Okay, we got a good win the other night against a sub 500 team, though. Then we come back against a plus 500, above 500 team, get down 12, turn the ball over in the clutch. I mean, everything is coming out. The defense, the decision making.
Things that we used to bank our hat on.
Yeah, right. Things that we used to bank our hat on. Turning the ball, turnovers, turning the ball over. It's concerning. It's definitely concerning. We hope that this team has the leadership to pull itself up by its bootstraps and start to, play better basketball, play with urgency, play with edge, play with basketball IQ, make good decisions. That's what this team is supposed to be about. We haven't shown it over the last 10 games. We haven't shown.
At the end of the game, Sim, OG gets fouled on the 3-pointer. And they try to strategize, and they like, make the first two, miss the last one. You don't even tell him that until he makes the first two. You know what I'm saying? Because as soon as you put that miss the last one in your head, that's all you think about. I gotta miss the last one. You're gonna miss the first two because you're thinking about missing. It's manifestation, man. You know what I mean? Get that out your mind. And focus on the task at hand, and you need to make them free throws.
Yeah.
Right? Let them make the two, then tell them.
And that's and see, this is the thing in the beginning of the season. When we was, when it's out there, we're not hunting games, we're not hunting wins. When I said when I said we haven't done anything to try to pace ourselves. We haven't won anything to try to be one of those teams that understands when to turn it on. Right? How do you know how to pace yourself to a championship if you haven't won a championship? You don't know how to pace yourself there. Right? You can look at the example of other teams, but teams that have won championships, you have a different makeup than them. You have different players on your team. You have a different coach than them. You know what I'm saying? So the way that you pace yourself is going to be different. So how do you know how to pace yourself if you haven't won a championship?
See, it's twofold though. Because you're right when you're talking about the players, but the coach has, right? So the coach is speaking on a philosophy that he had to adapt. And I say he, even though he wasn't the head coach, but let's say with Golden State, he had to adapt that. They had to adapt that philosophy, right? But you bring in that specific thing into a team that you haven't coached yet. You know what I mean? Now, all of it could be part of the whole collaborative effort thing, where you're saying they're looking at, these guys were burnt out. You know what I mean? They was overplayed, and now they're looking at solutions to that. But that's me saying all that. I still hated the fact that he said, we're not chasing wins. Because from however perspective you do it, you could put yourself in a hole by not going out there and grabbing the ones you should grab.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when you look at the numbers tonight, I mean, obviously it was a competitive game. The Knicks lost by 5. 50 rebounds. The Knicks had 50 rebounds to Pheonix's 37. 50.
Knicks had a stretch. Yeah, like 4 in one stretch.
Yeah, the Knicks had a couple stretches where they offensive rebound after offensive rebound. 22 assists tonight for the Knicks. 3 steals, 1 block, 17 turnovers. You can point to that right there. 17 turnovers.
How many in the fourth? 4?
Let's see what we had in the fourth.
5?
Let's see. But damn, 17 turnovers. I mean, come on, man. we're just we're not that team. I mean, we have a good basketball team, but we're still not that team that can survive that type of play. 6 turnovers in the fourth quarter.
There
You know
you
what I'm saying?
go, man.
We don't have that margin of error that some other really good teams have, in my opinion. Because we don't play defense as good. If we play defense the way that some of these other teams play defense, championship level teams play defense, then you would have that margin of error, right? Because you're going to get the ball back when you turn it over. And we don't have that, but we don't have that type of defense. So we don't have that margin of error. Yeah. I don't know, man. The question has to be asked: how much of this do you put on Mike Brown?
Nah, the players lost this game.
I'm talking about the whole stretch, not even just this game.
I was putting a lot on the 4-game losing streak on, you know what I mean, things collectively that was adding up from Mike Brown perspective, but tonight is not on him at all. I feel, you know what I mean, like tonight I give him a pass. I wouldn't categorize tonight in that 4-game losing streak where I thought there was glaring things that he didn't do as much. Now, some of them he still didn't do. Like Kolek didn't play a lot. It didn't feel like, I don't know where his minutes was, but it felt like he was, he's still on that short leash. But he also wasn't really standing out in his minutes. He brought Brunson back in with 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. Usually it's about 6 minutes. You know what I mean? So I think that was a quick pull in that stretch. Yeah, like to me, Brunson's late turnovers was bad. Cat's late fouls, offensive foul. I don't know if that was the fourth or not, but you know what I mean? Like it was just bad timing turnovers. Like you know what I mean? Especially in that fourth quarter where we finally started playing defense. I think they had 18 points in the fourth. We only scored like 21, 22. You know what I mean? So it's like we did great defensively, but we kept giving the ball back to them.
Right.
And without even getting shot attempts.
Right. Yeah. 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 It's a tough stretch. And, Phoenix is a good basketball team. So it's not a shame to lose to Phoenix. But when you're not playing the right way, you know what I mean? When you're in a slump and you're still playing the wrong way after having a night of playing the right way, but you did that against a sub 500 team. It's I don't know. It's hard to look at this team and say, yeah, they're ready to win a championship.
Well, who we got? The Blazers next. The Blazers are on a good stretch right now. We got the Warriors coming up. They on a good stretch right now. You know what I mean? Like teams are finding themselves while we're in the midst of this, whatever you want to call it, slump we in. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like we hitting teams, we getting teams just as they're finding themselves. You know what I mean? They're playing their best basketball, sub 500 or not. If the Clippers was in that boat and we won that one handily, but you know what I mean? It was just as dangerous coming off of our 4-game losing streak and them in the midst of playing their best basketball. So we got to buckle down right now. You know what I mean? We need to like all them cliches, 48 minutes. You know what I mean? Like
all of that.
You need that. But the 48 minutes, it's about what you do in them 48 minutes. Aggressive, play aggressive. Stop playing so soft. You know what I mean? Like stop complaining to the refs. You know what I mean? Fight through that. They haven't done that as much as they've been doing it, but you know what I mean? Like they gotta buckle down right now, man. They on a very critical run,
Critical one.
critical stretch. Pardon me?
Critical stretch. Yeah. Critical stretch. Yeah. Agree to disagree. Said Brown should be able to check Brunson, especially if he's forcing plays instead of making the right plays. I'm starting to think he's scared of Rick Brunson.
Or maybe he says Rick is gonna do it way better than me, but it's still gotta be. I mean, I don't care about publicly or not. You know what I mean? I think if Mike Brown ain't saying it, you know Rick is. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, man, he's been shaky ever since the you know what I mean? Ever since the cup game.
Yeah. Agreed to disagree. Said this team is soft. They're a reflection of the coach.
We had that soft argument ever since the cat trade, to be honest.
Yeah, ever since the
year before that, soft was not the identity of this team. It was the opposite.
Right. Ever since the cat trade.
Like, you know, the year before we got Cat, we was not talking about this team being soft. We was talking about how tough this team is.
How tough it was. Yeah. You know, and I feel like though every team comes into the game playing the Knicks with one of their strategies being to be aggressive, be tough, be physical against this team. You know, they're fake physical. Fugazi, is that the word that you might want to use with this team? Sometimes, you know what I mean? They're not legitimately physical.
Yeah, it's not their natural behavior. You know what I mean? Like they could up it, they could step it up. You know what I mean? But that's not what they naturally are, and we're missing that in the sense of an individual. You know what I mean? Josh Hart is probably our toughest guy, and that's him taking a beating in a sense. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily toughness in the sense where he getting in somebody's face. He probably will do the hard foul. You know what I mean? But yeah, we missing that, man.
Yeah,
and we can't rely on Josh Hart. I mean, granted, we haven't played out well in his absence.
Right.
He can't be the difference maker in the sense of us closing out games and winning games we're supposed to win.
Right. Yeah. Trav Ryan Music, shout out to you, my brother. Said Knicks don't scream at each other, soft, so they're scared of hurting each other's feelings. Someone needed to be barking in Brunson in McCall's ear for the crucial turnover down the stretch. Yeah, I mean, really, that's on Brunson, not even on McCall. You know what I mean? Brunson threw a bad pass.
McCall was literally trying to shield the defender from getting the ball. That was a heads up play by Grayson Allen.
Yeah.
That was actually a play that I would say I would call it a McHale type play. You know what I mean? But McHale did the right thing. He was trying to shield them from either saving the ball or doing exactly what he did.
Yeah. You know, that was all Brunson. You know what I'm saying? He went one-on-one, then he got caught in the air without any place to go and then threw a bad pass. You know what I mean? That was, that's all Brunson. You can't even blame that on Bridges. Can't even. Agree to disagree. Said as much as I hated Tibbs and his rotation at times, he had a strong voice. Hopefully Brown can turn it around or he will be out of here. We know Dolan don't care about money. He wants a championship. I think Tibbs had different standards of work ethic than maybe Mike Brown. And this is, I'm not saying that Mike Brown doesn't want the guys to work. That's not what I'm saying. I think Tibbs, though, just you knew the expectation coming into camp on what kind of shape you should be in. I think they also knew very much how much they were going to play. They basically knew what time they were going to go into the game. So as much as people didn't like that, the players understood that. And I think that's how you squeeze the best out of a roster that's maybe not as talented. You know what I'm saying? By just have it really, really regimented. That hurt him, that helped him, and it hurt him at times. You know what I'm saying? Because he was very, very regimented. So when there were times when he needed to leave certain players in the game, maybe he didn't do it because he was so regimented to his system. I think Mike Brown is a little more loose, but I also think because of that looseness, in my opinion, with this basketball team, you're seeing some guys not be able to get into as much rhythm, right? Because he's a little bit looser. I don't think he is as demanding, about your, being in shape and those type of things. I don't know if the team is as prepared. The one thing you knew about Thibodeau is that Tibbs was prepared, very prepared. I don't know, I don't, it's hard to, I don't know. I'm not saying he's not prepared, or the team isn't prepared, but maybe not as much. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we're seeing 12 guys being played at times, and that's cool and all. But at some point you got to knuckle down and have a straight 9 or 10 guys that you're rocking with. You know what I'm saying? And rock with those guys so that they can get a rhythm together. You know what I mean? I don't know. Right now things just kind of seem all over the place. You know what I mean? I asked in the beginning of the season when I heard all of this stuff about resting and all that, are we overthinking things? Like, are we coming in and intentionally doing these things and just overthinking basketball? That's one thing I was afraid of. I'm not saying we are right now, but sometimes I feel like that. Or might be overthinking things instead of just, if you can play, play. Get your ass on the court and hoop. You know what I mean? I get nervous about that for overthinking things. I don't know.
I mean, if that's what you're thinking, it's the front office overthinking things.
Yeah. Right. Front office overthinking things. Tonight, the Knicks were led in scoring by Jalen Brunson, of course. 27 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 4 turnovers, 2 of them in the fourth quarter. Shot 47% from the field and 50% from the three-point line. He was 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Miles Deuce McBride, Deuce has been killing since he's been back. He's killing.
He was like 45. He went from 50 to 45% from 3. I don't know what he is after tonight.
Yeah,
but I think he was up there tonight.
He was 1 for 3 tonight. But Deuce shot there. Yeah, Deuce has been balling. You know what I mean? He always plays defense. He's not a big rebound guy, and he's not an assist guy. 12 points, 1 rebound, shot the ball well tonight, 50% from the field. 17 points. I'm sorry, 17 points for Deuce. 17 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. Jordan Clarkson was 12 points, 1 rebound. Deuce shot 46.7% from 3 from the field, and he was 3 for 8 for 37.5% from the 3-point line. Yeah, Deuce is hooping, man. He's hooping. Karl-Anthony Towns, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. He was third tonight in shot attempts. 19 for Brunson, 15 for Deuce, 11 for Karl-Anthony Towns. I know he took 11. I get it. It's still unacceptable to me that Deuce is taking more shots than Karl-Anthony Towns. That's unacceptable to me. I can't. I don't understand that. Why is Deuce McBride taking more shots than Karl-Anthony Towns? Every once in a while, yeah, but come on, man.
To me, that's for tonight. I would definitely say, and this ain't even I wouldn't even been mad at the 11. I'm just speaking off of what I seen and what you're saying. Tonight, that's on Towns, because the reason Deuce had 18 shots or whatever it was is because he was aggressive. You know what I mean?
Right.
The reason Towns stopped at 11 and it wasn't more because he wasn't as aggressive.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's definitely on Towns tonight.
Yeah.
If you could get 11, you could get 15.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
But I will say he had some nice passes tonight that were blown. You know what I mean? Like he had whatever assists he had, but it was at least 3 of them that should have been assists, and they fumbled the ball or you know what I mean? They pump fake and pass it out. So
yeah. You know what I mean?
Another bad turnover, the OG lob to Mitch. You know what I mean? Crucial moment. Like, dude, like we had some crucial turnovers tonight, bro, where they should have been baskets. You know what I mean?
And I don't want to hear about the dog days, man. I don't care. You gotta you gotta battle your way through that. 15 points for OG Anunoby, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 11 points for Mikal Bridges, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists.
8 rebounds?
8 rebounds, yeah. Off the bench, Jordan Clarkson had 12 points. Mitchell Robinson had 8 points and 14 rebounds. 8 of them were offensive rebounds. I mean,
he did too, and then never came back in the game.
What'd you say?
I said Clarkson had a nice stretch and then never really came back in the game.
Yeah. Devin Booker led the Suns in scoring. He had 31 points, 8 assists. Dylan Brooks had 27 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds for the Suns. And Royce O'Neal had 12 points, 6 rebounds. Mark Williams had 10 points, 5 rebounds. Grayson Allen, 10 points, 3 rebounds, and a crucial play down the stretch to throw the ball off of Bridges to basically seal the game for the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, he's a championship type player.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
No doubt.
I started the size 9 comment because that's a fact. Right there.
What's this?
Oh, there you go.
Any guard to guard pick and rolls, Brooks was blowing up. Yeah, Brooks is that kind of aggressive player that gets under your skin. You know what I'm saying? Like you seen when he was tussling with the ball for Deuce, and you know what I'm saying. But Deuce ain't just gonna let him take it. I like that.
You have to Deuce.
You know what I'm saying? Deuce ain't. Deuce is one of our only. It's only a couple guys.
Another one.
Edge.
Yep.
Only a couple guys that got that edge, and Deuce got it.
He's another one. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You like that. Deuce got it. Let's take a listen to Mike Brown. And then we'll talk about that, and then I'm gonna hit the hay because I gotta be up at 6:45 to catch a flight, and I've been awake for 22 hours, so I'm tired right now. But let's listen to Mike Brown, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought to start the game, we gave Pheonix, especially Dylan, more so than anybody else, a little too much space, and he got extremely comfortable out on the floor. And for him to go for 20, I think on 8 for 10 from the floor in the first half, when most were just straight ISOs, is tough to overcome. But our guys, I got to give our guys credit. They fought in the fourth quarter. They fought well enough to give us a chance to win. But at the end of the day, holding them to 18 points was great. Playing a double big lineup, but at the end of the day, when you have 18 turnovers, 22 points compared to their 10 turnovers for 11 points on the road, it's going to be tough to overcome. So again, we just have to make sure we try to do this 48 minutes and not wait till the last quarter to turn it on defensively. Otherwise, it'll be tough, especially on the road.
With 14 seconds left, what did you see there?
Jalen got the switch, and the young kid also did a pretty good job. Jalen tried to make the pass, and I thought that I think it was Allen. Yeah, I thought Allen stepped out of bounds before he threw it off Mikhail. But obviously he didn't, and that's why I tried to. That's what I was looking for.
Goes more aggressive at a real boss. Really like to see on that last play, on that play.
Yeah, for sure. A situation like that, you got to go get the basketball. You can't rely on the officials to make the call. You just got to go get the ball, and we didn't go get the ball.
Was part of it the way they played. It seemed like they were Brooks, Allen.
Yeah. And we told her that was one of the keys. We told her that, hey, look, they're going to be up in you. They're going to try to be physical with you. And that's the way they play. They've done a good job with it. And we fell into the way that they play, and even got frustrated picking up a couple of offensive fouls. And we have to do a better job with that instead of letting them dictate what's going on the floor.
As you mentioned, that first half, Brooks did get kind of in a rhythm. You can also say they hit some tough shots, but that third quarter, it felt like your team was just scrambling a little bit. Is that a fair assessment defensively from where your group was?
Yeah, they hit some tough shots to start the game, and that it's part of me is why I can't be too mad. But if a guy is going off like that, then we have to do a better job of just getting up into him, just creep up into him a little bit more and make him put it on the floor and rely on your help if he gets all the way to the rim or gets to the paint. We didn't really do that a great job with that.
And I think one thing that shows when you guys play against physical defense, obviously Jalen's a tremendous ball handler to get into the paint. But it's after him, it's kind of not guys that are natural ball handlers. How much does that kind of hurt the offense, or at least hurt matchups in certain games when teams are having kind of switchable, versatile defenders that force other guys to bring the ball up and try to generate offense and get into the paint?
Yeah, it's where a guy like Josh helps out. A guy like Landry helps out. Landry was a point guard in college. And, obviously we're trying to give some young guys an opportunity, and some guys that aren't in that situation opportunity, and they just got to do the best they can. Hey, and they know how to simplify what we're doing. They have a couple of different options when they bring it, but the biggest thing is if you're getting pressured, you're just going to have to go by. You're going to have to go by the defense. You're going to have to go by the defense. You can't allow the defense to dictate what you're doing, and we did that on a couple of possessions, bringing the ball up the floor.
All right. If it didn't sound that great, guys, I apologize. I'll edit it out later. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think there was anything really in there, shocking or surprising that he said.
Yeah, no. This was
do better in the fourth, or don't wait until the fourth quarter, like you said earlier. Don't wait until the fourth quarter to try to turn it on. You know what I'm saying? Turn that shit on from the beginning of the game. Play with edge throughout the game, every game. Approach the game with edge. Approach your season with edge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like they looked at the schedule and said, "Oh, this is gonna be a nice road trip for us." And nah, man, you can't overlook these guys.
And I partly put this stretch right now on Mike Brown in the front office because I do feel like, again, from the beginning of the season, I just felt like we had a relaxed approach to the season. You know what I mean? Over
expectation.
You know what I'm saying? I just felt like, we had that kind of approach, and that's what the team bought into.
That's fair.
And I feel like it led to the team not having the urgency when they needed to have the urgency in games, because it's, we're not hunting wins, right? So not having that urgency, I think it led to teams, the overall approach to different games. When you see guys sitting out, it's like, oh, okay, well, they don't, they don't care about this one. Things like that.
Do you think Do you think there's a balance to it though? Because you look at a team, like, I'm gonna say, for instance, the Cavs last year. I'm not gonna necessarily put Detroit in it this year, but I'm gonna say the Cavs last year. They obviously were hyper focused coming into the season, right? Hyper focused throughout the season, and then you look at the outcome come playoff time. So like, do you think there's a balance because I agree with you 100%, but it's also the flip side of it, right? When you are hyper focused on the season and getting that number one seed, keeping that number one seed, proving you that number one team, and then something gets lost when you hit the next stage.
Yeah, I think because the Knicks were hyper focused throughout the season.
Last year, you saying?
Last year, you know what I'm saying?
I think they built throughout the season.
I mean, but what I'm saying is, like,
in a sense, like I think I didn't get that sense that they, you know what I mean? Like, they felt like, I don't think they had that same mindset like the Cavs did, especially coming into the season. I think that's almost impossible too, because it was a big change that came.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
like a new addition.
Yeah, see, I think Thibodeau always had the mindset of, we're trying to win every game.
Oh, right? No, I agree with that.
We're trying to get the best record we can. You know what I'm saying? And and I think, and I feel like the Cavs just kind of had that same thing. We want the best record we can.
I agree with that with Tibbs. I'm just saying, I don't know if I think the Cavs believed they were the number one seed in the East, and then they had a focus to prove that, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think the Knicks had that belief we're the number one seed. I think they had a belief of, let's continue to grow, get better, build, and maybe by the end of it, you know what I mean? We could reach that, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think that, but I think that's the approach you got to do. You're trying to win every time you get out there. You're not trying tricks, right? You're just trying to get better every time you step out there on the floor. You know what I mean? And you got to be on the court and playing together to get better. And I think that chemistry is what led them to the Eastern Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That chemistry led them there, and it was the grind throughout the year that got them there, that built that chemistry. Even though it might have only been 9 guys that played, you know what I'm saying, for the most part, but those 9 guys had some chemistry. You know what I mean? I think you got to be hyper focused on building and growing and getting better, you know what I'm saying, and winning those basketball games. And I think that has to be the approach from the beginning of the season. Whether or not, I don't think you focus on, if they were focused on, we got to get that number one seed and then I think that's probably the wrong approach. I think you just focus on building and winning. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Let the chips fall where they may, when, as you're building and winning, and then you get into the playoffs and you're strategizing and all of those type of things. You know what I mean? I think taking the approach of, when you say something like, when you put it out there, to me, when you put it out there that you are preparing, you're gonna be, resting guys and doing things like this to prepare for the playoffs, right? You're overlooking the season. This whole thing of building every day, you've already skipped over that when you start talking about playoffs already.
I agree 100%.
You've already skipped over it.
I agree 100%. You not even, it's almost like they have the philosophy, just want to be top 6. As long as we top 6, we good.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like they have this thought that we're going to be in the playoffs. We know we're going to be in the playoffs. We know we're going to win 50 games. We know we're going to do this. We know we're going to do that. So
what can we do to
What
make
can-
sure we healthy and we you know what I mean? Yeah,
and to me, that's like taking the season for granted.
100%.
You know what I mean? That's like taking the season for granted. And I don't think we're a team that can do that.
I mean, obviously not, because it feels like some of these losses we took
Yeah.
teams for granted.
Yeah.
We took teams for granted. You know what I mean? The daily step.
Yeah. You know, yeah, you know, and I know Mike Brown says, you know, we want to get better every day and those things, but it's that's got to be a consistent message from the beginning. You know, when you start off with, you know, we're not hunting wins every single night, and you know, this whole thing saving players for the playoffs and all of that stuff.
Honestly,
That goes opposite. That goes opposite the whole thing of building every day.
the Tibbs firing aside, right? The statement they put out felt like they was literally addressing the fans.
Yeah.
Addressing the fans' gripes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we listen to everybody. What was your complaint? All right,
Right.
What was your, you know what I mean? Like it was like they was addressing the fans. First time I ever felt like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I ain't like that statement, man.
Yeah, me neither. Fred Vaughn said,
And you talk about that, and then Mike Brown's statement, it's like a total contradiction.
A total contradiction. Exactly. Fred said, man, y'all act like we are a 500 team barely making it. What are we in the last 10 games? A 500 team barely making it. Right?
And we go on another stretch like this, we're going to be close to a 500 team.
Yeah, exactly. Last 10 games, the Knicks are 4.
7 games over 500?
What'd you say?
What we 7? How many games over 500 are we?
We're
9?
10 games over 500. We're 24-14.
Okay.
The Boston Celtics are now ahead of us in the standings.
Mm-hmm. 2.5 or a game and a half from.
Yeah, they're a game. They're a half a game ahead of us.
No, the Raptors though they 6 back. So what's that? 2.5?
Game and a half.
Game and a half.
Yep. And Philly is 2 games behind us.
Come on. Another, you know what I mean? This road trip don't end well. Guess what? We in that 6 seed.
Right. Yeah. Apollo Williams said, I can't lie, Sim. I still think Leon made one too many moves. You mean are you talking about that? That would have to be the cat move then, right? That would have to be the move for cat. If you're talking about trades.
I honestly believe, and I said this before, I honestly believe they made that move because they felt like Cat was a bigger drawer for the next move than Julius Randle was.
That could be.
You know what I mean? Like,
that could be true. That could be true. And in doing that, you know, we missed out on seeing what that team could have been.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know what I mean? You know, we totally missed out on seeing what that team had depth. It had that was a complete basketball team.
Toughness.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But I understand why they did, like, business wise, not basketball wise. Well, basketball wise too, but basketball business wise, I understood why they did it. You take the fact of Randall's contract situation, right? If we're gonna move Randall, it's easier to do it now than re-signing him and moving him on a big contract. You know what I mean? 4 years, 3 years, whatever that is. And if we get Cat, who's under contract for the 3 years, 4 years, we could probably flip him for a bigger fish than we would have with Randall. You know what I mean? So I logic, I get it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like you said, we missed out on that 1 year of seeing what it is.
Seeing what it could have been. Still, the real AD said Randall was and is not it. It wasn't about Randall being it, though. It was about the fit of the team. That's what that was about. It was about the fit of the team, right? You had Mikal Bridges was brought here because he fit that team perfectly. That's why Mikal Bridges was brought here, because he fit that team perfectly. You know what I'm saying? When you traded DiVincenzo and you traded Randall, you traded the toughness away from this basketball team. You also traded away depth, right? That's what happened. Bottom line, right? You traded away depth and toughness from this basketball team, you know, and we never got a chance to see what that team might have looked like, you know. Now I see who is Fred Wong and, you know, people talking about the playoffs and the regular season. I'll continuously say it, the regular season means a lot. Bottom line, the regular season is a playoff, Fred. The regular season is a playoff. Like it or not. I know it's a long season, it's a long playoffs, but the entire season is a tournament. If everybody made the playoffs, then you can say, the regular season don't matter. Get whatever seed you get. You can still win. Right? I understand that. But the regular season is not. But the playoffs are not where every team makes it. You've got to get out of the regular season with a good enough record to make the playoffs, which essentially makes the regular season a tournament. It's one big tournament. The only way it's not one big tournament is if every single team made the playoffs. But since that's not the case, you have teams that get eliminated from the playoffs. Eliminated from the playoffs. I'll say it again. Eliminated from the playoffs. The only way that you can get eliminated from the playoffs is if you're in a tournament. Right? You have teams that never make the final 8. And what do they say? They've been eliminated. That's what just pay attention to that wording at the end of the season. This team is eliminated from the playoffs. This team is eliminated from the playoffs before the playoffs even start. Right? So yes, the regular season means something because you've got to make it to the playoffs from the regular season. You've got to get through the regular season with a good enough record to get into the playoffs. Which means it means something. It means something. You cannot take for granted that you're going to be in the playoffs. The NBA did not say the New York Knicks are granted a playoff spot no matter what. They didn't say that. No, you got to win games to get there. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you got to take the regular season serious. Because if you don't take the regular season serious, you might not make the playoffs.
My bad. I did that.
That's cool. Saying you might not make the playoffs. Just saying.
And I don't know who it was, but somebody said, "Are you saying we not gonna make the playoffs?" That's not what he's saying.
That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that if you take the regular season for granted, you might not make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? How many times have we seen teams throughout the years in the NBA supposed to be a playoff team and they don't make the playoffs? injuries happen. You know, these things happen, that happens.
I mean, there's at least one every year.
Yeah. Look at the Phoenix Suns the last few years when they had all these dudes over there. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. What happened? They're supposed to be a shoo-in every year, top 3 seed. What happened? Come on, you can't take it for granted. Can't take it for granted.
I guess that was still the real AD. Salute.
What'd you say?
Oh no, when I said somebody said it was still the real AD.
Oh, yeah. Oh, still, yeah. Fred Wong, you said injuries. Okay. That happens. So you win the games that you can win because you might get an injury. Right? You win the games that you can win. You don't take it for granted. Because if you do and you get an injury, now you might be asked out. You win the games you can win because you don't know what's going to happen.
How much? Oh man, how much pressure you think the front office is feeling right now?
I think they're feeling some pressure.
And how do you think they handle moving forward? Handle the pressure, handle you know what I mean, the heightened expectation. We're coming up on the trade. You know what I mean? We in trade season, basically. You know what I mean? The deadline is less than a month away.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're feeling pressure, and I still think they let Mike Brown work it out, try to work it out, but you know, and see what he can do with this team here. I still think they're not going to make any major trades. They're going to try to, you know, see, you know, let's see, can they get through this stretch? And
I'll be honest, coming into the season, I did feel that way, but again, we're not playing our best right now. You know, 5 out of 6, like you said. If we don't righten the ship and make things look a little bit better, I think things are on the table. Like everybody's been talking about Mitchell Robinson. You know, I don't want to trade Mitchell Robinson, and
right.
I would have said I've been saying there's no way they trade Mitchell Robinson, but the fact that his future on the team is no guarantee. And typically when they don't reach that extension with somebody, they don't normally, you know what I mean, keep them. They usually are moving them.
Right.
I wouldn't put it 100. I wouldn't say it's off the table 100%. Now, and I'm not saying trade them at all because I think we need them. But that pressure start building. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. The Coolest said they probably played less than 20 games, all of them together, talking about Booker, KD, and Beal. But that's my point. You get the games you can get. You don't shirk the regular season. You get the games you can get because you don't know when serious injuries are gonna hurt you. And if these guys didn't have serious injuries and they just sat them out to rest and play that type of game, we see how it worked out. You know what I mean? You get your wins. You don't try to outsmart the game. You play it. That's all I'm saying. And I feel like we've been trying to outsmart the game. We feel like we got we got a higher level of intelligence over top of the game, and I just feel like we're overthinking some things. You know what I mean? And it's backfiring right now. That's what that's all. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
How much of the high end conversation about Cat's defense, Brunson's defense, do you think is actually reaching them and affecting them?
The players?
Yes, Brunson and Cat in particular.
I think
because I know they hear it. Number one, when they got, like I said, that should have been an eye-opening thing for Brunson when him and Kolick, you know what I mean? Kolick stays on, Brunson gets pulled in the offensive defensive substitution. Like that should be something glaring in my brain. You know what I mean? There's no way that he didn't observe it, recognize it, you know what I mean? Feels some kind of way. I'm not saying how he felt, but he felt something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, these guys, the numbers are out there. You know what I mean? Where together, that you know what I mean, it's not good.
Yeah.
Cat on the floor without Brunson is actually better than any other combination with the two of them. Like Brunson on, Cat off is worse than Cat on and Brunson off.
Yeah.
So how much do you think it reached them and affect them?
I think it would affect Cat more than it would affect Brunson. You know what I'm saying? Brunson is kind of a very strong-minded player. Cat, I feel like, is kind of weak-minded.
What do you say to the numbers of the defense being better with him on and Brunson off? And actually being good numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, that you know, I think part of it is who else is out there on the floor with those players too.
That's fair.
You know, I think part of, you know, I think that's part of it. So if Deuce is out there, right? You know, if it's Deuce and Josh Hart, you know, McCall, OG, you know, and
Cat.
You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a pretty strong defensive lineup around them.
But you could say the same thing with Brunson and putting Mitch in there instead of Cat. It should be, you know what I mean? It should balance out that same way, right?
Right. If that's who, you know, if that's who the lineups, you know, on either side, if that's who the lineups are.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think it balances out that way. You know, and then of course who the other teams have on the floor too. Right? Because if let's say it is that lineup you said with Brunson and then Mitch out there, but what if they have a 3-point shooting center that's drawing Mitch out the paint? You know what I'm saying? You know, so you know a lot of that. But I think the difference with Brunson, why Brunson wouldn't be first, I think Brunson is more strong-minded, but also I think his offensive game is rarely ever not there. And what we've seen with Cat this year is there's been times when he's disappeared.
And to your point, is very rarely surpassed by his opponent either.
Right. You know, exactly.
So even if his defense is bad, he's usually still outscoring his counterpart, or balancing it out.
Or balancing it out. Yeah, and Cat's had some moments this year that you're like, what happened? You know, happened. You know what I mean? What happened? Fred said, you're overthinking every loss. Well, I got 5 of the last 6 of those motherfuckers to overthink. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, and I think if anything, we're overlooking the stretch, not you know what I mean, not individualizing them. Because if you look in the beginning of the streak, we weren't talking like this. Oh, we're gonna clean it up. Oh, we're gonna bounce back. Oh, we let one slide. You know what I mean? Oh, it's 2. Yeah, we haven't lost 3 in a row in the long time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's the stretch. Not individual loss. It's the stretch.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Fred said, that's how I feel, bro. Shoot. don't know. Well, hopefully we got to turn it around. It's crazy because I think Mike Brown seen this coming.
Pardon me.
I think he's seen it coming. After our second loss in a row,
Mhm.
he said, hopefully this isn't the beginning of,
Mhm.
and he did that.
Mhm.
Right? Hopefully it's not the beginning of that and us moving backwards, taking steps backwards. And this is what's happened. I think he's seen it coming. I think he might have seen, okay, we're winning games, but we're still not doing this. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And if we don't start doing it, we're going to start losing. I think he's seen it,
Well, so you shouldn't have said it, man, because words have power.
That's true.
Should have kept it to yourself, Mike Brown.
That's true. Fred, have a good night, my brother. Be peaceful.
Salute. Oh man.
I think I'm gonna head off too, though, Tone. Cause
I feel you, Sim. I feel you, Sim.
25.
Hopefully you get some rest. I'm gonna try to jump on tomorrow night. I know Queen gonna be on in the morning. We got still Knicks fan at 11 or 12 to whenever. So I'm gonna try to jump on after the family. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I've been awake for 22 and a half hours.
Get some rest, man.
You know what I mean? I got to be up by like 6:30 so I can catch this flight. I'm exhausted right now. So yeah, I'm about to go.
Get a good 4 hours. If you hurry up.
Yeah. Go get a good 4 hours of sleep or something.
All right, Sam. Salute.
Right.
Shout out to the chat.
Peace, everybody. Have a good one. Get up out of here.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you're feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench.